At the moment, I mean, in Berlin, there are no events, no exhibition, but we have it because of our practice, actually. We always find the way because we like to play with the challenge. It's also kind of a very good opportunity that we can also develop our innovative formats, like using streaming and making the artist studio visit and putting them into the public. And also because of our 4 big windows, we are using a lot to use it for video screening. And still, I mean, it's running 24 hours at the moment. 3 artist videos are running. And in these days, we are doing talks, video screenings, concerts. It takes a place in the digital space. And we're going to start exhibitions. And so we started already a studio visit. So via Skype. And artists are filming their works. And then we make, through these works, artist talk. And then after, it will come at the end of this month, it will start to come, we will start to share with the public. So we are streaming every Wednesday, we have an event. So we are streaming into the homes of people. So we have concerts or artist talks, panel discussion, concerts, I said, video screening, film talk. So we keep on doing it because also, I mean, we are kind of lucky people that we are in Berlin or in Germany because the state supports a lot the project spaces. They support so good that we don't die. I mean, otherwise it would be very hard. I think we already got 1 award. And so with this money, we can run the space expenses. Like main expenses, and with one other support Stiftung, we can convert the space for the corona. I mean, we had another door; it was closed, so we opened this door to put to take people from also there. And yeah, at the moment, I mean, when you are artists, all of us is artist background people. So normally the artists got used to be alone, actually. They got used to work alone. So the corona didn't make a big psychological disaster. But we continue to do, we start to our book projects, like self-printing book project and the filming. I mean, really, we are super busy, actually, very busy as usual. Yeah.
Do you find, I mean, from, I would say, past 1 year, kind of still operating your institution under very, very high pressure? And do you find still something very optimistic that you would like to bring up to us?
Yeah, actually, during the pandemic, people touch a lot to each other, actually, through WhatsApp or Zoom and something. You started to make talks and meetings through Zoom. So, I mean, you understand that they are all your artist friends. And I mean, the concept about friendship, for instance, is developed in this time. So, because we were sending each other drawings and texts and kind of we were reading the books together. So that kind of things that we never ever have time before. Now we have time, and in the beginning that we were not knowing how to use the time. So it was like swimming in time. But then we learned how to use this time, putting in on the work, actually. So in the beginning we didn't know it, but it was collecting all this text and the images and like writing each other. And now we are decided to make a reserve print. I mean, reserve print on the kind of old papers like a papier-mâché. So it would be like a big book that about our trying to resist of time, because somehow it was also kind of a questioning of doing more. I mean, before pandemic, the time was so squeezy, like you are doing. There are always exhibition invitations from here, there, and you were using your time like I know that I was like 1 month, I was sleeping on 3 hours, 4 hours, because it was not enough. You have to push your energy, doing more. When you are creating, you don't really feel how you tired is. But when you have finally a time that you can able to sleep 7 hours, then you have something moving in your side. So you start to think of more emotions. I don't know, the new works are coming interestingly, going to your emotions, to touching your emotions, and kind of solidarity, that kind of things. It's very interesting, because normally the persons, I mean, our people are mostly the new immigrants from Turkey in Berlin. So we were more involved of the politics, this boring politics, and this doing a lot of these political ways of how to react. But these days we are more, we introverted ourselves, and there is this intellectually and emotionally connections. So now, yeah, we are doing these books, and probably we will do this films for this 3 windows, that a film is going, I mean, using the windows as a continuation of a big film, something like that. It's not that we didn't finish the editing, we are still shooting.
I like the way you say that we're swimming in the time. And all of a sudden, we have plenty of times in our hands. That's a very ironic kind of situation. Yeah, but I mean, personally, I hope that after the pandemic, we can still have a bunch of time and we can swim.
Basically, the situation is not the same in Tunis or in other locations, but a number of the workshops we have, the one in London, the one in Davis, California, the one in Lisbon, had to shut down, and we had to reinvent ourselves. First, we started DIY projects online to keep people active, to keep people busy. We thought maybe the activity itself. So the quarantine play manual was a sort of manual we published every week. And most importantly, this was an opportunity for everyone in the different location, the different members of the team in the different country, to have a go at designing one of those exercises. Another challenge we face in London, we work with elderly people. The workshop is based in an old people's home. And the population affected by COVID and the community is really affected by COVID, and the restrictions are particularly important. We have 2 artists in residence, Alex and Eva, who are working in this workshop in London. And they decided to launch Quarantine TV. So as you can see, we've been playing a lot with the idea of quarantine in different ways. And Quarantine TV was this YouTube program where they would explain DIY projects and also have discussion with residents, but online. But again, we quickly realized that access to internet was a big issue among the other elderly community, and that we needed to find alternative ways to connect with them. The digital is not the only solution, and it also creates a lot of inequalities, and that's something we have to address within the project. Like a lot of the people we usually work with, the elderly people, have less and less contact with the outside world. And the workshop being closed means they have no activities whatsoever happening in their homes. So we decided to go back to more traditional analog forms of communication. And we started writing letters we took on the challenge of writing 150 letters by hand to the residents that we usually work with. And we felt there was a sense of generosity in this medium. And maybe that's something that we also realize with social media, with the internet, even though it's important to use those medium, we feel that even with hundreds of likes, that doesn't necessarily help create a sense of community. People look at the images or scroll through the content, but spending the time and effort to put something together and being generous in the medium itself might be something that helps us in this time of pandemic. And going back to more traditional forms of communication is one way we found that was definitely useful. As you can imagine, we don't travel much these days, and keeping the connection going between the different Warcha in the different countries has been quite hard. And we're still working on new solutions. And then I think basically we don't have one way of doing things, but we've realized over the time and different strategies we've developed that you need a diversity of ways of working to attract and to reach out to the different communities we're working with. So that's where we at the moment.
Digital connection seems to be a very powerful strategy that all the institutions are currently using to face the pandemic kind of tragedy. I had also hearing from some of your transformation of the way that you operate the program and deliver your kind of artistic service. After pandemic, do you think will this kind of energy be continuing, or is there anything that's positive, quote unquote, and that you would be very glad to make it still happening in the future?
Yeah. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I think the interaction, the online interaction, the discussion, like we're having right now with people within our team in different locations. Some of them don't know each other because we have the time, because people are at home, because people are looking for interaction, is really positive. But I think it only reach a certain type of number of people, as we explained, with elderly people, with teenagers, with certain groups. The media, the internet, or the social media is not enough. And we need to find alternatives to have other forms of communication. That's what we're struggling with, basically.
Indeed.
I mean, what I'm saying here is also true for a space. When we open a space, how do you create space for diversity of people? You know, it's a struggle for many institutions. I can imagine to bring different communities together and different social groups together, different ages together. And I think the internet or social media makes it even more extreme.
As you know, the international traveling was stopped, and we are an international art village. So most of artists are coming and do the residency program. So we changed our strategy into making more collaboration with organization or artists within the country. And also we postponed the large-scale events. So we are doing the research-based project instead. Yeah, so case one is about Taiwan and Thailand. We do the online research program, exchange program. We want to do the physical residency program. So Taiwan will send artists to go to Thailand, and Thailand also send artists come to Taiwan. But because of COVID-19, so we changed the way into do the research of 4 things and cultural movement. So we do the research by online discussion, Google Maps, or we do the research of the policy part. So you can see we use some digital tools like Google Map to make our partner understand about the size or about each cases. Also, we do the timeline of the city policy. So right side is Taipei part and left side is Thailand part. And we also use hack folder as tools to make people who are wondering to know more about Thailand can quickly understand. And this hack folder, you can see some button in the left side. Each button can link to a website. So we click to this website, make people can easily to research. And also because we have online discussion and offline talk, we also do the receipt exchange to make participants in Taiwan can know about, can do some exchange. When the COVID happened in March, we are trying to let it become a field trip into the school. So at the first, we let the schools became to the exhibition into local schools. We're going to 7 schools to do the exhibition. So because of the COVID-19, school students cannot do the field trip, and also they cannot go out for a trip. So we are get the school bags into schools and do the workshop by artists and students. We let them discuss about the social issue or educational issues or environment issues, so that those students who participate into this program, they also do 70 works, artworks, and to react about the local issue. Because when it traveling to each country, the local artists will create new artwork to call back to their social issue. So we're trying to let the discuss can happening into artists and the students discussion. So we also invite Taiwanese artists to participate and had an exhibition at the National Museum of Marine Science and Technology. Okay, this one is about our network when we are suffering into the COVID-19. So we changed our residency program into another way. We're trying to collaborate with the organization in Taiwan. Some organization is very new, so maybe they didn't have the experience to do the residency program. So we're trying to build this network, and we can exchange our experience, because Bemkern Studio was founded in 1995, and we do the art residency program from 208. So we're trying to pass our experience to this younger organization.
Probably we have all discussed how we managed to kind of survive the pandemic period of time, but can you all taking the kind of last few words to kind of share your idea, especially at this moment, we are talking about sustainability when we are facing a lot of shutdown, a lot of closure. From your position and from your kind of context, how do you think the term when we talk about the sustainability of the institution of arts and culture? For myself, it's a kind of heavy issues, especially to discuss at this moment. But I would like to hear your view toward the term sustainability. Benjamin, yes.
I mean, one of my concern is that relying on external funding in contexts where there's less and less public money available, it's a lot of pressure on us to develop alternatives, ways to fund ourselves. And the trend is that we should all be accomplished businessmen and women, and find ways to generate money in different ways. That's the feeling I have these days. But it kind of for me and for our practice, where a lot of it is about education, about common good, about bringing people together, I feel like this might be a difficult path. I don't feel like we have necessarily the means to turn that into a business, and I wonder to which extent the business element goes against the idea of community and common good, especially when we're talking about education and about bringing people together who might not have the means to otherwise to access those services or facilities or forms of exchanges. So, I mean, that's the struggle, and I know that everyone is, I mean, I'm sure in other contexts, there is also this question of how do you generate money? Yeah, I don't have the answer, but that's my struggle at the moment and my question.
I mean, for the sustainability, so we are, as I said, that the situation is different than the other countries. Germany, I mean, if you are good enough and if you have projects, then you get the support. So we what we applied, we get the support. So for the money wise, so we are okay. And also, Berlin is very typical city. I mean, it's not the same everywhere, but Berlin is very typical. And for the motivation, I mean, for the artists, how to motivate them. This is also very important because psychologically you have to be motivated. So that's why we are doing this podcast for studio visit. It's very short videos, like 10 minutes, but you are there and then you show it to the world, how they are thinking, what they do, what's changed. But we are living in now, so it's very hard to say it today, now, how it's changing. Probably we will know it maybe 1 or 2 years later, but probably it will change a lot. I mean, many things will be changed a lot.
Yes.
Because I mean, the human needs to stand and continue this. So, and also, I mean, for instance, when you make the exhibitions, then you have the inputs. You make the exchange ideas. So you meet with someone that it gives you new ideas. So you lost this because with this Zoom meetings, we have so many Zoom meetings, yes, but it doesn't develop in a very normal way. I mean, you have a beer in your hand and you blah, blah, you talk, but all of a sudden some very deep, interesting things comes out and then it triggers in your mind something.
Yes.
So that kind of things, because everything is closed, and then, okay, you surfing in this one event, this streaming event, but you get lost of this 1,000 events in everywhere. So you don't really watch them. You just turn on and you don't watch them. It's like poisoning your mind with event streamings. And so that's why, I mean, in our first events, we realized that nobody is willing to watch it. I mean, on time, for instance, when you do the program, nobody watches, but they click it afterwards, like 500 people clicking to see what you are doing, but not that day. So it's somehow good. So they want to get informed. This is good. But we will see it. So we are always changing our way of how to make people to be in the project. So that's why we started. For instance, last week there was an interesting interview. It was like about the sound artists, which they are really dying because they have no possibility to make a concert. So also the club culture, which is very important in Berlin for many of the sound artists and the DJs. So we made like a cycling tour to all this very important centers like Radial System, HAU or HKW, and very big centers of music and performing art. And in between, we make interviews with some people, they really lost their job. So it's more about how this club culture and this big centers of art, they are kind of dying, closing. They are already closed, but for the future, it's waiting. I mean, yeah, it's kind of sad stories. So we are putting them also in our podcast, and then putting also some music in between, like 1-2 minutes with music. So we are trying to put people kind of up. I don't know, because we have the money, so we can only more careful about the psychological part of people. Okay. I mean, our intention is in this way. Yeah.
Yes.
I think maybe quickly talk at some point that one of the point is about the archive because of the pandemic. So we had more time to think in the first half of the year. So we noticed that because every year Bemkern Studio is very busy for different kind of projects. So actually we didn't do a good archive. And we are trying to archive our documents or our program in the past few years. And the second one is because of the pandemic, some of artists or art administrator lost their job. So so in this situation, we trying to use our program changing to build a new collaborate with these artists or administrators. So it leads to in the end of the year, Bemkern Studio. Actually, we only have 4 full-time staff, but for the collaborate administrator and the artist, it may be up to maybe 40 or 50. Okay. It become a very big group, but this kind of group is very flexible and it had diversity way to connect to the different organization. And the third thing is about the government. Luckily, Taiwan had good government support to the art industry. And the other side, we are trying to use the connection to keep the conversation or discussion with government for we are care. So I think this quickly top 3 points.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.